Welcome to how to make an interactive PDF. First, as you can tell, this is my complete setup here. One of the very first things we want to make sure we do is go up here to the Essentials, and we are going to click on it, and we'll go down to Interactive PDF. This is key to make sure that you get all the proper tools here on my right-hand side, everything you need to know. First, let's look at our pages. Make sure all your pages are set up. As you can tell, all of my content's here, all 25 pages. You don't maybe you don't have that many pages. That's okay. Everything's gonna be a little different, but it's key that we have all the pages set up. Your master page, as you can see in front of you right now, is my master page. I have next button, back button, each link that I'm curious to make sure I do, logo, everything else, please leave it blank. Over here is your two main big important objects. First is button forms, those are come in play, and second is bookmarks. I'm going to go ahead and pull both of these out since we'll be using them most, that way they're over in the middle of the screen if they want to get together. So first, let's focus on the easy buttons to do. Grab your picture tool, picture rectangle frame tool, whatever you want to call it. I like to call it picture frame, but let's go ahead and make the next button. So make it to size that you want to. In your buttons tab, go ahead and hit button 19, because I've done this a couple of times. We're going to call this button next. Very important. On release or on tab, I always click on click. It just makes it more easier to do. Next is your action. This is very important to make sure you do. As you can see, the very first few will involve your main interactive PDFs. Next is your EPUB column. A lot of people want to say go to page, go to state, next state. This stuff right here only works for EPUBs, not interactive PDFs, unfortunately. And the bottom is for your big time forms. If you ever fill out medical forms online or other columns and stuff like anything, this is usually what they use is different forms. We are going to go to next page. Don't worry about that one for right now. I always go to actual size. I always think it's better. It just, for me, it works better for me. You don't have to use that one, but that's the one I like to use, depending on what you want to do. And now that button is done. So you can click over it again. You can see it. It works. It should work perfectly. So let's go ahead and do it again for the previous button. So button. Last page or previous page or return. It doesn't really matter what you call it, as long as you name it something, because it could help you out later on, especially if you use that button multiple times in different locations. Luckily, we're using it on the master page, so we don't have to worry about that at all. So action, again, we're going to go to previous page. Don't go to last page because it gets you into a bind. If you did last page, it would go to last page viewed. So if you're on page 25 and all of a sudden, if you click on the posters and then you go to publishing, it would take you back to the, and you hit the back button, it would take you back to the posters button in this case. So make sure you go previous page. It will take you back one page. So if you're on page 25, you go back to page 24, and so on and so on. So just make sure you keep that constant, and then we'll go to actual size and call it a day. Now, here comes the tricky part. When it comes to making posters, these all little tabs to go to certain pages, we're going to use bookmarks. So go back up to your pages, go back to your page 1, and click on that one, and let's have a gander here. So as you can see, page 1 is my about content. It's highlighted, which is great, wonderful. So go ahead and hit your bookmarks tool, get it open. Down at the bottom here, we're going to create a new bookmark. Now, as you can tell, if you hover over it, it says page 1, bookmark 1. So I'm going to get out of that and call this one the about. So click off of it, wonderful. Scroll down until you get to your next thing. As you can tell, this is the start of the posters. So again, click on the page a couple of times just to make sure that it's active. You can tell over here it's active on your pages. Sometimes bookmarks are a little tricky and doesn't like that at all. Sometimes it does. But I always like to click on the page just to make sure I have it there. Go ahead and click on the new bookmark. Hover over it just to make sure. Page 2, bookmark 2, awesome. So we'll call this one posters. Now you can go down, scroll all the way down till you get to your next category, past posters, and mine is publishing. Uh, so click on the page a couple times just to make sure it's active. Click on bookmark again, hover over it just to make sure, like I said, and it says page 9, bookmark 3, which is awesome. And this would be called publishing. If I can spell it today, yay. Again, it works great. So go through publishing. Next one's up is logos. Um, again, click on the page a couple times. Do it again. Hover over it just to make sure. It works great. Call it logos. Then we're going to come back down here to senior thesis. Click on it a couple times. Click on new bookmark. Hover over it just to make sure. At page 16. Thesis. And then that's it. So as you can tell, that's all my categories I needed. So let's go all the way back up to the top here and go back to buttons and forms. Now, we can go back to master's page and we can set up our buttons and forms here. Sometimes it's a little tricky, sometimes not so much. I prefer not to do it on master pages, again, because I found out that sometimes it's glitchy. I've had one before that when I did my senior thesis page, it wouldn't go to my senior thesis page. Master's pages is good for this content. At the same time, it's not really so well at all. So what we're going to do is that we're going to cheat the system. So we're going to go back to page 1, and what we're going to do is grab your picture frame tool again, grab it, go over here to buttons. Now this is the fun part. As you can tell, button 21, actually we're going to call this posters button, okay? On click, and here comes the biggest problem everyone likes to do. Everyone goes, go to page. Again, we can't do that. We need to go to destination. So click on go to destination. As you can tell, the document is the document that we're looking on, Digital Portfolio 2018. Now, destination, we want to go to posters. Again, I always go to actual size, and that, ladies and gentlemen, will allow you to go to posters page. So, click off that one for right now. Now we need to make buttons for everything else. So real fast here, we're going to fly through this and make it for everything else. Okay, highlight them all. That way they're all highlighted. Hit command or control and copy them. Go down to your next page, hit paste. Unfortunately, I know this is going to be really tedious for some of you, and you're going to want to try it in master pages, do it one time, call it a day. Like I said before, though, I've had a lot of issues of it being glitchy. For some reason, master pages doesn't like to transfer over all the time the buttons and the functions. I just find it best that if you do it solo and call it a day, it works 10 times better, and I haven't had any problems with it at all. So again, I'm going to sit here real fast and fly through this. I'm not going to waste your time, so you watch me do all this, but here we go. Okay, as you tell, we are officially done now. All the buttons are there. Everything that I am concerned with is there. Um, you can do hyperlinks for, say, your Behance net. I've since then now changed this to a different website. You can have your email highlighted into a link. Again, if you go to buttons, real fast, we can go down here. Here's this handy dandy thing. We can go to button again. Click and say you want to do a URL to go to your website. You can do that. Email address. You can activate anything with a button. Videos, sound, show and hide buttons for forms. Amazing things you can do with it. You can clear form, print form. If you want them to be able to print your portfolio or your resume, your references, great way to do that also. Just hit open file, link the file to what you want to, call it a day. It is amazing what you can do. So again, now that we're done, I'm going to go ahead and delete this one fast here though, because I don't want it there. I'm going to go to file. We're going to go to export. And then from here, we are going to go, I'm going to call this 3.0 because I've already done a couple of these as demonstrations. Hit save. Again, make sure all the pages selected. Nothing really here you need to worry about at all. After export, here's fine. Default page, single page, nothing like that really concerning. You can put single pages, that way everything's still constant. What you're saving it as. View, actual size, you can do that also. Everything should work out fine. So we'll hit export. Here's my one warning I get, only because I'm missing links in the files. If you couldn't tell, a lot of stuff's missing out of this one because it's just my dummy one. So click OK. CMYK blending space RGB, that's fine. So we export it. Okay, and here you go. So again, we hit posters, goes to posters, publishing. It's giving me a little bit of different changes only because my page is a little off right now, unfortunately. So let's look at logos, senior thesis, awesome, and about contents. Again, we can go to the next page, all the way through everything. Everything works great. And that's it. So hopefully this is helpful, and have a good one.